Hi everyone, good afternoon. I'm Chris. We're back in the tasting room and we are going to be tasting Lot 782, the Reba. So Reba is a grape that you've probably never heard of. It's a grape that I had never heard of until we tasted it. And now that we're getting more familiar with it, I'm starting to understand it. Reba is a cross of Merlot and Teroldego, which is also a grape you may never have heard of, from the north of Italy, normally in Trentino Alto Adige. But with most new grapes, of course, you want to try them in lots of different spots, and this one was grown in Tuscany. So this is named after Rebo Regatti, which is a vintner who produced this in the 60s and 70s. And now it's made its way over to Tuscany and into the hands of Cameron Hughes Wine, because even though this is one we never heard of, this is a wine of distinction. So it's definitely worth investigating. Let's have a look. And first, let's just break it down to the bare bones. First off, the color. You can see that this is a wine that is semi-opaque, just looking at it. Like if you put your hand underneath of it and look through the top, you can see your fingers, but just barely. And there's also this beautiful bricking color around the edges where we've gone away from the purple of a fresh young wine, and we've moved into this sort of brick, almost orange tinted at the edges type of wine that you see when it's aged a little bit. And like I said, this is from 2017. So as we're drinking this in December 22, this is a wine with 5 years of age on it, which is great to have. So let's go ahead and smell, see what we can pull out. Oh boy. This is a contemplative wine, I would say. It's one to think about. It's similar to some of the other bold wines that are known for their aromatics, even though this is a grape that's not known that well at all. So we have to pull them out of the wine itself. What I'm getting on the nose seems to be a blend of cherry, a blend of blackberry, and a lot of red currant, because there is a sort of spicy note to this. There's also a layer of iron, which says that there's maybe some iron in the soil, or maybe that's what drives this grape. And there's also almost a licorice aspect and a slight balsamic vinegar, both of which tend to usually come from the aging process. But in some cases, you could find that licorice note in a fresh wine, so maybe that's a part of this grape. Let's taste it and see what we think. Okay, that is a bold wine. It has a great structure on the palate. There's a lot of tannins here, and they feel very present. They're one of the driving forces, but underneath that, there is still some acidity, so it's not totally forgotten in lieu of the tannins. I also want to say the body feels really luscious, even though the tannins kind of bring it back into focus. So I guess having all that with the fruit, which by the way, is leaning between ripe to tart and into the dried character as it ages a little bit, with all that together, where do we put this? Like I said, this is a contemplative wine, so when you buy this for your cellar, you can think about it a little bit. I think that based on its development, you could even choose to lay it down a little longer, but you could also drink it now, and this is great for sitting on your back porch with a lot of friends that you want to introduce something a little esoteric to. If you're watching the sunset and enjoying a beautiful wine like this, I think that's a scene that this wine belongs in. You could also be at home putting this into a wonderful dinner. Maybe this is gonna go with the roast and all the carrots and potatoes. Maybe this is gonna go with your Thanksgiving dinner. And I think there's a place for all of that with this wine. So with that, I think the only thing left to do is direct you to the Cameron Hughes website, look for Lot 782 and explore this yourself. And with that, I will see you at the next glass.